Tonight on News 22, amidst the controversy of the migrant caravan, another border mass is being planned, this time closer to home.
New Mexico State University is lending a helping paw to some helpful dogs.
And Victoria Valderrama takes a look at the Las Cruces Fall Festival.
All that and more on News 22 Hollow Wednesday.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV News 22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Diana Castillo.
And I'm Amanda Adame. The caravan of migrants is traveling through Mexico and heading for the border.
There are already many migrants waiting to seek asylum on the Paso del Norte Bridge in downtown El Paso. Today, a Mexican news source captured this video of migrants waiting on the bridge. Today, the temperatures dropped and we experienced rain and hail. The migrants can be seen trying to stay warm and using plastic covers to stay dry. And among the border tension, the Catholic churches in the borderland will hold a border mass on Saturday. 2 years ago, Pope Francis held a mass when on his historic trip to Juarez. This one Saturday is in response to the caravan of migrants traveling to the U.S. and the military response. It will be in Anapra near the Cristo Rey statue. That group of Guatemalan migrants continues to move through Mexico. And during a rally for GOP candidates in Ohio today, Vice President Mike Pence said the organizers want to harm the United States.
The large caravan that has been seen in the media is nothing short of, as the President said, an assault on our country. You know, the truth is these caravans, though, are being driven by leftist organizations in Central America. They are, and by human traffickers who, you need to know, have no regard for human life.
But the Washington Post fact-checking team says there's no evidence to verify the claim and gave the assertion 4 Pinocchios, meaning it's untrue.
Senator Tom Udall is excited to hear from students. The New Mexico senator visited the NMSU campus yesterday at Gerald Thomas Hall. He addressed the current immigration issue. Udall says that if the border states feel the need for security, then the states should take action. He also addressed Trump's idea to end birthright citizenship. Udall says this would be unconstitutional, and Trump can't do it alone.
Suspect what's happening here. He's trying to stir people up before the election. Doesn't have anything to do but election politics a week before the election. I think it'll just drop by the wayside when we get further down the line.
He covered a variety of topics, including dark money, education, and climate change. He also took questions from students and faculty.
Speaking of climate change, we saw some today. It was hailing and then it was sunny.
I know, it was crazy, right? Victoria's next to tell us more with weather.
Thanks, Mandy. This video we're watching here was taken at the New Mexico State University campus around noon. The nickel-sized hail came down from the sky and forced people to find shelter. The sidewalks were submerged and people wearing flip-flops got their feet all wet. It was such a nice morning that we were surprised by those strong winds and heavy rain. But currently in Las Cruces, we're looking at clear skies with a temperature of 56 degrees. Our winds are coming from the northwest at 9 miles per hour. Humidity is at 54% and dropping, and our dew point sits at 40 degrees, and our barometer reads at 29.89 inches. Today in Las Cruces, we did have a high of 62 degrees. We woke up to a low of 36 degrees. The average for this day is 79 degrees, so we are well below that. But traveling back in time, in 2001, we hit an all-time high of 85 degrees, and in 1967, we had an all-time low of 24 degrees. We did get some rain today, so our yearly rainfall now is at 7.17 inches. That's all I have for your current conditions, but I'll be back with your national forecast. Back to Diana and Mandy at the desk.
Texas Congressman Beto O'Rourke is one of the people on the pipe bombers list. Beto O'Rourke received threatening Facebook messages from the suspect earlier this year. In October, the FBI went through O'Rourke's mail at his El Paso campaign office. The FBI says the man mailed 15 explosive devices to prominent Democrats, Trump critics, and media outlets before he was arrested. He faces 5 federal charges with a maximum sentence of 48 years behind bars.
Faith leaders came together today to honor the victims of the mass shooting. The Interfaith program was held at Park East Synagogue in New York. The service focused on honoring the memory of the 11 worshipers killed after a gunman opened fire inside the Tree of Life synagogue.
We stand together as one, with families in Pittsburgh whose lives have changed. I'm grateful to all of you for joining us on this very painful moment in America's history.
The United Nations Secretary General and New York Cardinal were there along with other prominent leaders.
The Anti-Defamation League says there is a rise of anti-Semitism in the United States. For many years, anti-Semitism was decreasing. Then came the 2016 presidential election. Since then, there's been an increase of 34%, then a 57% increase in 2017. Saturday's synagogue shooting is considered the deadliest attack on the Jewish community in the U.S. Officials say the shooter wanted all Jews to die. He now faces multiple murder charges. President Donald Trump's counselor Kellyanne Conway is in Ruidoso at the moment, stumping for Republican congressional candidate Yvette Herrell. Herrell and Conway will appear at the Lincoln Country Republican headquarters at 7 p.m. for a Get Out and Vote rally. Yvette Herrell is facing Democrat candidate Xochitl Torres Small to replace Congressman Steve Pierce, who's running for governor.
Congressman Pierce says crime is out of control in New Mexico and it will take more than money to fix it. Pierce says if he is elected, he would create a task force of local, state, and federal agencies to coordinate a better approach to tackling crime. Pierce has the endorsement of the Albuquerque Police Union along with 21 sheriffs from around the state. Democratic challenger Michelle Lujan Grisham also highlighted crime as an issue, calling for a crackdown on violence with a focus on repeat offenders. A voter in New Mexico says poll workers refused to accept his ballot during early voting because of what he was wearing.
It was a Donald Trump campaign shirt from 2 years ago. Sasha Leninger has the story.
It was Friday around noon.
We're not taking your ballot. So the guy tried to grab it from me.
When Greg Malafronte went to vote early, he says he went to the polling location on Montgomery near Tramway.
About to hand me my ballot, and then the one girl next to the other girl was like, you can't give him a ballot because he's got that shirt on.
That shirt she is referring to is this 2016 Donald Trump shirt.
Then the other girl's like, well, you guess you can because he's not running right now, but next time you're not allowed to wear any kind of campaigning shirts or anything like that.
The military vet says he was handed his ballot, filled it out, and was about to turn it in when...
I'm like, what? You can't take my ballot? He's like, yeah, because you're wearing the Trump shirt.
Malafronte said he ripped up his ballot and then left. According to the Secretary of State's office, voters are allowed to wear political apparel when voting only if it does not deal with a candidate or question currently on the ballot.
Shocked because I would hope to see a sign outside saying, hey, no political gear to be worn inside voting.
He says at the end of the day, his shirt stands for more than what it looks like.
And no matter who our president is, it's our commander-in-chief. I'm a military vet, so I stand by that ground. Whoever our commander-in-chief is, that's who I support.
The policy of not allowing campaign material at polling places stems from a Supreme Court case earlier this year. The county clerk's office says it has clarified the policy with poll officials. And stay tuned. Vicki will be back with your national forecast.
But first, find out this unique and helpful activity. More on that when News 22 continues.
I want young adults to know that the world is a much bigger place than just the spot that they are occupying at this time. And PBS presents that in a very positive manner. I have left my PBS station a gift in my will. I want to be certain the programs presented by PBS are carried forward to future generations.
KRWG Public Media would like to thank the Border Artists and Cutter Gallery for the benefit show What We Love. A portion of proceeds from art sold at the show will help your public media organization. The art will be on display through November 3rd at the Cutter Gallery at the corner of El Paseo and University in Las Cruces. What We Love, benefiting KRWG Public Media.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Wednesday,
where news matters. A dog is a man's best friend, and for some, it can even be their lifesaver. Here at NMSU, there's a club made to raise puppies till they're old enough to start formal training to become a guide dog.
I took an up-close look on why the club is so important through a furry four-legged friend. Meet Shuttle, an 8-month-old puppy who'll do anything for treats. Eliza Voigt is his trainer. She's a senior at NMSU studying animal science, and her love of dogs is personal.
And my dad was recently diagnosed with Parkinson's disease a couple of years ago, and we got him a dog, and she helped him a lot with like his symptoms and stuff like that. Unfortunately, she did pass away last year.
So she decided to start a club called Raising Canines. She partnered with Guide Dogs for the Blind, which supplies puppies like Shuttle to raise until they're ready for formal guide dog training.
Our job basically is to socialize them, get them used to being in public areas, get them used to basically any kind of situation that the blind person would come in contact with.
In formal training, dogs literally become the trainer's eyes. They're taught intellectual disobedience.
And so what that means is if the blind handler tells them forward and they see a car coming, they won't move.
Good girl, very nice.
Shuttle isn't the only puppy in the program. There's also Cece and Koi. Cece is being raised by club advisor Dr. Gayleen Pasenko.
Nice!
They have to have the ultimate training because they are eventually going to be someone's eyes, and they are going to have to learn to keep that person safe.
Puppy raisers will continue their basic training and socialization before these puppies head back to California to start their formal training. Formal training is 8 months long. It's tough and not all dogs pass.
So of the puppies that we get, only 42% will make it all the way through.
Eliza says she'll be sad when Shuttle goes to training, but she'll be proud and hopeful he'll make the grade and become someone's best friend and helper. They are all very excited to have one dog, Rhapsody, in formal training. She is currently in phase 2. Earlier this week, we were visited by a stinky friend outside Milton Hall. A small skunk had been wandering near Zool and I Mall when it made a small stop from students walking by. A United States Department of Agriculture employee was able to safely and carefully trap the skunk without getting sprayed. The USDA says that the little critter is to be safely relocated.
New Mexico students were visited today by a global art project known as Verdad, or the Truth Booth. The Truth Booth was started in Ireland and has traveled to Afghanistan, Canada, Mexico, and now New Mexico to document what people believe their truth is. There was no specific topic, just simply or diversely answer what the truth is to you. The Truth Booth is heading to Tucson, Arizona, and then to Los Angeles.
You know, I hope that everybody across the country is going to have a good weather for Halloween.
I do too, and Vicky's next with your national forecast.
October is coming to an end and we're well into the fall season. And just last Wednesday, the city celebrated. There were superheroes, pets in costumes, and iconic movie characters. The Plaza de las Cruces was where the fun was, and the vendors were in the spirit, handing out candy. Jesus and Stephanie Reyes have been at all the fall festivals selling their hand-painted recycled art.
We'll meet different people and let everybody just look around and have fun.
The Las Cruces Farmers and Crafts Market Fall Festival has many activities, including live music, and people get to participate in the Halloween costume contest. And all these boogeymen, clowns, and witches, and even a family of social media platforms, all waiting to see who was the best costume.
Everybody's on their phone, always down looking at their phone, so I figured, hey, why not social media platforms?
The big winner was the homemade hot air balloon. And it was so much fun spending time out there with those little kiddos. But now looking at our national maps, people down in the south and in the southern plains, they have severe weather heading their way coming tonight and into tomorrow. So what that means is that the kiddos, they're gonna have to spend their Halloween indoors. Some sad news, but we're gonna turn that around in my next map. The trick-or-treaters in El Paso are looking at 43 degrees, in Albuquerque 35, and Denver also at 35. So if you're sending your kids out there, please make sure they're wearing a jacket. But if we look to the southeast, they are experiencing some really rainy conditions. Dallas at 50 degrees, Houston at 59 degrees. So those kids are gonna have to stay inside today. That's all I have for your national maps, but I'll be back with your local forecast.
All Things Considered, weekday afternoons from 4 to 7 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on KRWG.org.
On Masterpiece.
How long will we turn a blind eye to the needy?
You have a taking for her, don't you?
Your experience in dealing with unstable patients will prove invaluable.
There's nowhere like London for numbing the senses.
Poldark on Masterpiece.
Thursday at 8 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
From great performances comes one of Broadway's best musicals, the Tony-winning An American in Paris. And when this boy meets this girl, Robert Fairchild and Leanne Cope dance their way into a gloriously old-fashioned love story. With a sensational Gershwin score.
Who could ask for anything more?
Look for An American in Paris, the musical.
Come on, it'll be fun.
Only on Great Performances.
Friday at 8 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Welcome back. Snow has begun to fall just up the highway at Ski Apache. The mountains are completely covered in snow and, well, it looks very cold. The current temperature in Alto, New Mexico, they are at a chilly 33 degrees, and tonight they will be dipping down into the 20s. Tomorrow they will be warmer at 50 degrees, but will remain under cloudy skies, and that is what makes it feel really cold out there. Keep in mind, ski season is coming up. The estimated opening date is scheduled for Friday. For more information, you can visit skiapache.com. And now moving to our local conditions. Right now across New Mexico, Farmington is at 48, Santa Fe at 35, Clovis at 39, Roswell at 44, and Deming at 56 degrees. Tomorrow in New Mexico, Farmington is looking at 58 degrees, Santa Fe 48, Clovis at 57, Roswell 64, here in Las Cruces at a warm 65 degrees, and in Deming at 72. Looking at our neighboring cities, Alamogordo tonight will have clear skies with a low of 38 and tomorrow a high of 58 degrees. In TRC tonight, clear skies with a low of 38 and tomorrow a high of 67. In Silver City tonight, clear skies with a low of 31 degrees and tomorrow a high of 61 degrees. And in Las Cruces tonight, we will have clear skies with a low of 37 degrees and tomorrow a high of 65 degrees. That's all I have for your local temperatures, but I will be back with your 5-day forecast.
A haunted holiday with a shocking price tag. According to the National Retail Federation, Halloween spending is expected to reach $9 billion this year.
That's about the same as last year's previous record. In today's Consumer Watch, Kim Hutcherson breaks down the expenses.
Candy, costumes, decorations, it all adds up. And this Halloween, collectively, we're expected to spend $9 billion. That's according to the National Retail Federation's annual survey. The report found the average spending per person is $86.79. That's slightly higher than last year's spending survey. So where's all that cash going? According to the NFR survey, $2.7 billion will go towards decorations, $2.6 billion will go towards candy, $400 million on greeting cards, and the bulk of it, a little more than $3 billion, will be spent on costumes. And speaking of dressing up, the survey found the top-ranked costumes for children were princess and superhero. For adults, the popular costumes were witch, vampire, and zombie. The survey also found pet costumes are gaining popularity. Nearly 20% of people said they plan to dress up their pets this year. That number is up from last year's 16%. The NRF credits the economy and high consumer confidence for the positive survey. For Consumer Watch, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
And you know, there's a big volleyball game coming up for NMSU.
Yes, and Adrian Chavez is next with sports.
Thanks, guys. Coming up in sports, find out who the NMSU Players of the Week are. Don't go too far because News 22 Sports is next.
Coming up on Austin City Limits.
Saturday at 9 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
What made these Antiques Roadshow fans so happy?
I've seen thousands of Babe Ruth baseballs, and this one on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 10.
Wow. Holy cannoli.
Really?
Good find.
Tell me more. Don't miss these amazing moments and more from Charleston, West Virginia, next time on Antiques Roadshow.
Monday at 7 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. I'm Adrian Chavez, and what time is it? It's sports time. The NMSU volleyball team is hitting the road for some pivotal WAC matchups that pose as must-wins after the 20-match home win streak was snapped. Last Saturday, the Aggie volleyball team packed the Pan American Center when they hosted fellow WAC opponent UT Rio Grande Valley. The Aggies hung tight with UTRGV through 5 sets but fell 2 points short. Kat Kelly led the Aggies in kills with her career high of 18. Tomorrow, the team looks to rebound, taking on Seattle U at 7 p.m. at the Red Hawk Center. After a day of rest, they are back at it when they play at Utah Valley Saturday at 1. The Aggie Players of the Week are Roy Lopez and Julia Jessica. Roy Lopez is a junior defensive lineman from the New Mexico State football team. In last Saturday's game against Texas State, Lopez had 5 solo tackles and 5 assists. Julia Jessica is part of the women's cross country team. Last weekend at the WAC Cross Country Championship, Jessica's led the NMSU squad when she placed 10th overall in the women's 6K, finishing in 21 minutes and 15 seconds. Jessica was also named All-WAC second team. NMSU alumni Winston Rose is leading the CFL in interceptions, playing for the British Columbia Lions. Rose played for New Mexico State from 2013 to 2015. His 5 interceptions this season match his college total. Rose spent the 2016 preseason with the Indianapolis Colts after going undrafted. With 1 regular season game this Saturday, Rose could gain the sole possession of the league lead. Las Cruces high school football teams are back to practice this week after a successful weekend of football. The Mayfield Trojans hosted the Hobbs Eagles for a conference matchup. The Trojans picked up an impressive 35-8 win. Last Friday, the Las Cruces Bulldogs traveled to Carlsbad for a conference game. The Bulldogs beat the Cavemen 38-26. The Onate Knights picked up their first victory of the season when they traveled to Gadsden for a conference game. The Knights beat the Panthers 31-14. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Vicky will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, how safe is New Mexico when it comes to trick-or-treating? Find out when News 22 returns.
Next time on a chef's life.
Here they come. Here's your fish.
Oh, cool. I'll have a special connection to these.
There you go.
We're doing a Feast of the Seven Fishes dinner. So we'll start plating now and we'll help run it up. Being back at the restaurant, that ain't no joke.
Saturday morning at 10:30 on KRWG Public Media.
They went into my home, picked up my children, and placed them in a foster home.
They cut their hair, take away their clothes, forbidden to speak their language.
What else do you call it besides cultural genocide?
I can't get over the nightmares. Dawnland.
Monday at 9 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Antiques Roadshow has a lot to share from our visit to Charleston, West Virginia.
To me, it's like eye candy. It draws you in from across the room.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Thanks, Frank.
Frank's smiling somewhere, I'm sure.
I'm sure I am.
You won't want to miss these discoveries next time on Antiques Roadshow.
Monday at 8 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Let's take a look at our top stories. Another controversy is coming for the border. A migrant van is headed towards the downtown El Paso Bridge with migrants already there, claiming asylum. I took an up-close look at the on-campus club raising canines, who raise puppies to get them ready for the guide dog training. And Victoria Balderrama took us inside the fun from this year's Las Cruces Fall Festival.
New research came out that determines the safest places to take your kiddos trick-or-treating. The team at yourlocalsecurity.com did some research to determine which U.S. metro areas are the safest. The team had 4 deciding factors: percent of trick-or-treating pedestrian car deaths, violent crime rates, and the ratio of sex offenders to determine the most and least safest cities. Among the 10 safe, dangerous metro areas are Santa Fe and Farmington, New Mexico. Las Cruces ranks among the safest. New Mexico would rather play the villain, considering the most popular costume is Harley Quinn.
Wow, who would have known?
So Vicky, what are the next 5 days looking like?
So you guys, tonight we are gonna be at a low of 38 degrees, and those kiddos, they're gonna have to wear a jacket to keep warm, but overall throughout the week it'll be off and on. It'll be warm, then it'll be cold, so just keep those jackets handy.
And that's all for News 22 Wednesday. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we wish you all a happy and safe Halloween. Tune in tomorrow night for more news. I'm Amanda Adame.
And I'm Diana Castillo.
And I'm Victoria Balderrama.
Good night.
This news brief in Español is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for Southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Hola y bienvenidos a este breve informativo de Noticias 22. Francisco Soto, con ustedes. La policía y el Departamento de Bomberos de Las Cruces quieren recordar a los padres y niños que pidan dulces con precaución para tener una buena celebración esta noche, día de Halloween. Una de las precauciones de seguridad más importante es de que los niños que pidan dulces sean acompañados de un padre o guardián responsable. La gente que pase dulces desde su hogar se debe asegurar de que las banquetas y caminos en la propiedad estén limpios y alusados. Otras recomendaciones incluyen ir a pedir dulces en grupo si es posible, usar una linterna para iluminar el camino, asegurar que los disfraces no interfieran con la habilidad de caminar o de poder ver, cruzar calles en las áreas designadas después de ver si no hay tráfico. Las personas que vayan a pedir dulces deben de tener en mente de que no todos celebran el día de Halloween y se recomienda mantenerse alejado de casa sin decoraciones o sin luces. También hoy aquí en la ciudad de Las Cruces tuvimos un día soleado y de repente tuvimos vientos fuertes y granizo. La tempestad duró aproximadamente 10 minutos. Favor de tener precaución con fuertes vientos y tormentas eléctricas que se aproximan, especialmente hoy en día de Halloween. Favor de andar con mucho cuidado. Eso ha sido todo de mi parte. Para Noticias 22, Francisco Soto.